Hello. I am probably absent, and you get to review some stuff about parabolas or quadratics, or these things called quadratics that have a squared in them. How do we solve these things? Well, there's a wide variety of ways to solve them. I'm going to do an example problem, and then you're going to get a chance to do some by yourself. So, I think my pen's working today. Here we go. When I see an x squared, I automatically think to get one side equal to 0. In this problem, that's checked. And then I look to factor. So in this problem, I'm going to factor. It is not the factoring with x games that I've taught you. It's the GCF, or what can I take out? I can take out a 2 and an x. And I'm left with 3x plus 2. So I've just factored by taking out a GCF. Now, I'm going to set each part equal to 0. So I'm going to set this outside part, 2x, equal to 0, and this parenthesis equal to 0. And then these are fairly easy to solve. Divide by 2, one answer is 0, and the other answer is going to turn out to be a fraction. Minus 2, so 3x equals negative 2, or x equals negative 2/3. We're always going to have two answers when I have an x squared. The only time we're not is if we get an answer that looks like x equals 5, and the other one is x equals 5, where it duplicates. So that's a good reminder that when I have an x squared, I'm going to have two solutions. All right, pause, or go ahead and pause now and try this one. Welcome back. I'm going to make sure that one side equals to 0. It is. And then I'm going to factor. In this case, I can take out the GCF, or I can take out a 7x, and I'm left with x minus 3. If you need to review factoring, there's a factoring video on Canvas. Then I'm going to set each part equal to 0. So 7x equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0. I'm going to get my two solutions, because this 2 tells me how many solutions there are. Divide both sides by 7, so x equals 0. Add 3, x equals 3. Let's go on to a new type of problem. This one. Now the first thing I said was, once I see this x squared, I must have one side equal to 0. Well, this side doesn't equal 0, so I'm going to move this over. When I add 80 to both sides, I'm going to get something that looks like this. Next, I'm going to look to factor. This time it's not a GCF, but it's the x games. So, it's what multiplies to give me 80 and combines to give me 18. I believe that is 8 and 10. So my two parentheses are x plus 8 and x plus 10. I'm going to do the same thing I did last time and set each part equal to 0. So I'm going to have x plus 8 equals 0 and x plus 10 equal to 0. Subtract 8, x equals negative 8. Subtract 10, x equals negative 10. Notice again, I have two answers. Now, how about you try? So pause and try this one. Welcome back. Notice I have an x squared. I want this side to be 0. It's not 0, so I'm going to move this over. So that's going to be x squared minus 7x minus 18 equals 0. This is not GCF. I can't take something out of each term. But it's x games again. It is what multiplies to give me negative 18 and combines to give me negative 7. I believe that is negative 9 and positive 2. So this should be x minus 9 times x plus 2 I'm going to set each parenthesis equal to 0. And since you've already done this one, you know that the answers are x equals 9 and x equals negative 2. Let's go on to a different type of problem. Oh, let's look at this one. You have to be odd to be number 1. That's a good math joke, isn't it? You have to be odd. All right, moving on. So let's look at this problem. One side equal to 0, that's great. Now I should look to factor again. This one is not GCF. I can't take anything out. So I should look to factor. This one is a little bit different. So it's going to be 6 times 2 is 12. And then 7. But don't forget that you have to divide by 6, since there is a 6 out in front. So that is setting it up, factoring. What multiplies to give me 12, combines to give me 7. I think that's 4 and 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 plus 3 is 7. So, continuing to factor, divide both of these by 2, and both of these by 3. You're going to get parentheses of 3x plus 2 and 2x plus 1. So this is a good practice of factoring when the number out in front is not 1. Then you set each part equal to 0 like we did on the other problems. And you get our 2 answers. Notice again we get 2 answers. When I have an x squared, I'm going to have 2 answers. So 3x equals negative 2, or x equals negative 2/3. Subtract 1, 2x equals negative 1, so x equals negative 1/2. Now, the great thing about a video is you can pause it and go back. So I'm going to keep on moving and let you try this one. Welcome back. Did I trick you? This side has to be 0, so I have to add 7 first. So that's 4x squared plus 16x plus 7. You have to do that first, otherwise it's not going to work. Now we're going to factor. 4 times 8, don't forget 4 times 7, not 8. 4 times 7 is 28. Combines give me 16, and I'm going to have to make sure that I divide by 4. So let's see. Well, multiplies to give me 28 and combines to give me 16. Is that 14 and 2? I believe it's 14 times 2 is 28. And when I add those, I get 16. So I need to simplify these, divide both of those by 2. So that's 7, 2. Divide both of these by 2, 2, 1. And I'm left with 2x plus 7 times 2x plus 1. Set both of those equal to 0. 2x plus 7 equals 0. 2x plus 1 equals 0. Minus 7. 2x equals negative 7. X equals negative 7 over 2. Or if you want to write that as 3.5, that's fine. Subtract 1. Divide by 2. X equals negative 1/2. Again, we have 2 answers. All right, I think I got one more type. Yep, and then I'm done. Good, we're getting close. It's a long video. All right, this problem. One side equal to 0, check. But this one does not factor. You have to use the quadratic formula. So I'm going to practice doing the quadratic formula. Here we go. Quadratic formula should be on the board, so you should be able to see it. Or you could Google it. So here we go. Minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. We've done this, so you should be familiar with this. And we get negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 25. There's one minus here. There's not 2. So it's going to be minus 4 times 2 is 8, times 1 is still 8, over 8, all over 4. So this is minus 5, plus or minus square root of 17, all over 4. And we said just to leave it here. Some of you who are smart, who are not sleeping yet, ask, where are my two answers? Your two answers come here with the plus and minus. Later on in the year, we'll continue to develop quadratic formula. So last one, try this problem by yourself. Whew. One more problem. Here we go. It's set equal to 0, that's good. I checked, it doesn't factor, so that means I must use quadratic formula. Minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Minus b minus 5. 5 times 5 is 25. There are two minus signs. One right here, one right here. That's going to create a plus. 4 times 7 is 28. 28 times 4. What is 28 times 4? That's 80 plus 108, I think. 108. Is it 108? I should probably check that. I'm kind of tired at the end of the day. So, 28 times 4. 112. I knew something didn't sound right. 112. All over 14. We just need to add these two and we should be done. Negative 5 plus or minus square root of 137 all over 14. And again, leave your answer just like that. We'll continue to work. All right, that's solving quadratics. Here's a nice funny comic for you to look at as we come around Halloween. Have a great day.